Hello and welcome to another episode of To the Edge. With me today again is co-host Mike Messier.
Great to be here, Roland, for this special episode. Thank you.
Yes, we'll be discussing the film of his Blood Sugar Sid Ace, to which he's the director. And with us are also two co-hosts. We have Larry O'Leary and we have Stacey Forbes-Iwaniki.
It's great to be here, Roland.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. So, Mike Messier, what can you tell us about Blood Sugar Sid Ace?
Blood Sugar Sid Ace I wrote in October 2010. I spread across a collection of poetry and short stories that were unfinished, movies that hadn't been fully developed. All these scripts I took out of a file folder, placed them on a table, not too unlike this, but an octagon-shaped table. For about a week I had the World Series in the background, and I wrote Blood Sugar Sid Ace. It really came from the heart. It came from a lifetime of experiences about a character named Sid, who eventually Laurence O'Leary would be cast as. Sid is reflecting on his life, the mistakes he's made with women, with career, and he creates these other characters, starting with Ace, who's kind of his younger male self. Ace is about half of his age. And then he creates Blood, who's the dysfunctional, broken doll lady that represents a lot of ladies from Sid's life. That character's name is Blood. And finally, Sugar emerges from all this plight, this darkness, this sadness, this morbidness, and she is the light of day female, played by Stacey Forbes-Iwaniki, if I pronounce that right. I always kind of mess it up. But Stacey kind of plays the light of day, the sweetheart of the script that kind of wants to move these characters above and beyond. Wrote the script, and then there was kind of a very quick turnover from the time that the script was written in October until we had auditions, I believe, in January, late January, February of 2011. Stacey had contacted me through a listing on NewEnglandFilm.com. She provided a commercial, a reel that was a commercial for a local gym. We won't say the name of the gym because they're not paying for that. And she had brilliant eyes, wonderful eyes, and a great comedic pace with her expressions and her humor in that commercial. Laurence O'Leary I knew as friends, almost brothers in friendship, for a couple of years, several years. He was working with me in my acting class, core acting as an assistant. And so we had a really tight bond. He had read the script previous, and I believe Laurence said that he related to about 70% of the script. He felt like 70% was his own journey in life. So these forces came together. We had the initial audition at a wonderful venue called the Artists Exchange in Cranston, Rhode Island, on Rolfe Square. Great venue. The Artists Exchange, as a matter of fact, works with handicapped people, mentally disabled people. So it was perfect for me. No, but we got to have our audition there, our initial audition, where Laurence, to his credit, was the first one at the audition place, even before me. Laurence even helped other auditioners get acclimated to the venue, which was nice of him. And we were having these auditions, and there were some real gamers came out. I'll give credit to everyone who auditioned. People in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Stacey came from New Hampshire to audition, and we really had a good turnout. I was putting a lot of energy into the audition because we were trying to cast 4 actors in one day, maybe taking on a bit too much. Laurence emerged as a clear choice for Sid, and Stacey was really the go-to lady for Sugar, you know, and try not to do pre-audition casting, but sometimes that does happen, you know, to be honest. And based on her commercial, I never met Stacey in real life before. She wasn't a friend of mine before the audition, but I really had a feeling that she would be the one. And as a matter of fact, in my cell phone, having just a few conversations with Stacey, I put Stacey Sugar ? In there, and eventually the question mark did come off the contact. So, but Stacey, when we were waiting for Stacey to come to audition, I was like, "Where's that Stacey girl? Hurry up!" Because I wasn't really feeling it with the other actresses as good as they were. So, make a longer story somewhat short, we cast these 2 on that day, and then we didn't quite have what we needed for the other 2 characters, Blood and Ace. We did have a young guy named Adam Bucksbaum who auditioned for Ace, but in all the merriment of that day of auditioning, I couldn't see his talent coming through. My co-producer, DP editor Tim Labonte did see Adam's talent coming through, and highly suggested I give this guy another shot, this guy Adam. So I did give Adam another shot. In the meantime, Lawrence was working with a young lady named Jamie Tennille from my acting class. They were working on a separate project, and Larry himself, or Lawrence, suggested, Mike, why don't you give Jamie a shot? And I said, my exact words are, I think she's too nice, you know, because she is a real sweetheart in real life. But I did give Jamie the shot to audition, and she nailed it. She nailed it right on the head. And Adam Buxbaum put the work in to really, really get the part. And what he really did to nail it was, at the end of the movie that you've seen, Roland, and other people will see, there's like a 5 or 7 minute monologue, which is really unheard of for a film. Maybe you can get away with, yeah, it's just unique. So Adam just nailed this thing for the audition, and he just brought it home. And that meant a lot to me, because the monologue is stream of consciousness, it's talking about past life experiences, it's talking about Abraham Lincoln, I am the man on the coin, I shot the man on the coin, John Wilkes Booth, all types of bizarre, you know, things, John F. Kennedy, all types of stuff that's really going into this monologue that without the proper actor being a conduit for this energy, it's just not going to happen. So Adam pulled that off. Jamie was, I want to say, even vicious as blood, just had it down, ice cold. And complemented with these two wonderful actors, we had our cast. And there's even more to that story, but I'll just leave it at that. But I was very happy. We moved it through the process, and maybe I'll let these guys pick it up from there once we started rehearsal and stuff, because I've been talking for 5 minutes.
Yes, it's always good to have someone in mind for a role.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what you did to prepare for the roles beforehand? I want to backtrack a bit.
Yeah, please do.
Well, I actually carried around a dictaphone for a long time, and this was before I had the iPhone with the voice recorder. But it was my Bible, so I just would bring it with me everywhere I went, and then I would just turn and start saying my lines to anyone who was standing there. And they would just stare, stunned, not knowing what to say. And eventually I thought, you know what, maybe I have this. Maybe there's something more to it. And then even when Mike was actually trying to reach me on my way to the audition, I was still rehearsing. I knew it line for line, but I could fail them, and I wanted to make sure that I had that in the moment feeling when I walked through the door, because I knew that I had a lot of competition walking in. Or at least I felt that way, because I knew that, you know, in New England, people flood to do a feature film.
Yeah.
So I just reread, and every chance I had, I would listen to it in the shower, in the car, wherever I had 5 minutes, so that I could just live that moment of what I had to do for the audition. And I think it worked out well.
Did great.
Yeah,
Larry?
she did great. I embodied this character. I studied it. I asked Mike a lot about the backstory to the character. And then prior to the audition, I made many copies and taped them in my bathroom, in my kitchen, in my bedroom, everywhere I was, the monologue, and then I carried it in my car. And like Stacy, I put it on a recorder as well. And then I started watching characters and studying them, dark characters like Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs as an example, and how he absorbed that dark side of a human being. And when I went to the audition, I felt really good about the audition, but I knew that this character, it had to be, I felt this character inside, you know, and I'll tell you, at certain points, I didn't want to feel that character inside, because as an actor, you have to go into those dark sides, and the real dark sides, and this character really does go into some serious dark sides of himself. So when I went to the audition, I felt really good about it, but like Mike said, there were maybe 5 other guys auditioning for my part, and I was in the room helping them, because as an actor, I knew it doesn't matter, you know, it's going to be the director, the casting director is going to say, I see this character in that person. The main thing is I was off book, I embodied the character, and I had other people who were doing the same. And it was, when I first read this, I said, this is a modern day Shakespeare. This is Shakespeare comes to film. It's really deep writing. It's 58 pages of dialogue. At that point, I also had to say, well, I have to commit myself to 58 pages of dialogue. That's a lot. And like Stacy, when we got the part, it was very honoring. I didn't even know I had the part all day. I was there for 5 hours, and
That must be torture.
well, it really wasn't bad because I see auditions as an opportunity to perform. So I love auditions. If I'm not working, I'm auditioning from New York to Boston mostly. And it's just my opportunity to perform because that's what I love to do. So I would record the opposite parts of my my dialogue. I would record Stacy's part, for instance, when we're doing, and I would say my parts, and then I would listen to her response so I could develop the character, chemistry, and be able to create that chemistry with somebody else, my fellow actors. But once Stacy and I got the parts, I could feel in that first day of auditioning, neither one of us, I don't know, really knew we had the part, but we kept getting called back in. Little to our knowledge that they were testing our chemistry with all of these other people who showed up for the same piece. And then it was exciting. It was a long day, and it was pretty exciting. It was a great, very professionally run, top-notch casting call, and it was a pleasure to do it.
So when you're interacting with each other as characters and as actors, would that inform how you'd play the roles? Like, for instance, when you're contrasting yourself against Jamie's role?
Yeah, it's amazing because Jamie, she played her role so well. And like Mike said, she's super sweet, but she can turn that off in a minute and become a witch if she really, really wants to, and she's good at it.
Well, that was where when Mike said she saw her sweet, I was working with her on a project she was doing in the acting class, and it was a dark piece, another dark, small piece that Mike wrote as an acting exercise about two people in a mental institution from, I don't remember what it was, but she came to my house and I helped her I helped her rehearse for next week's class, and she was doing a very dark part.
Right.
So I said, Mike, this girl's got it. To know her, she's a sweetheart, but she can really go into that dark side in a very deep, convincing manner. She can embody that character.
Now, there were a few times during filming that we were nose to nose with bitterness and anger, but then as soon as you said cut, we would be hugging and eating a sandwich. You would never know. You would believe that we truly disliked each other beyond belief.
Like they were sisters.
Right. I mean, we were nose to nose, and I could feel her breath when she was talking because she would get so angry with her role.
It's really funny how you can just shut off the world just like that.
It takes a little bit. After a while of filming, it takes a little bit. Mike was kind enough to set up a Zen-like place for me to go after the fact, because I'm a big believer that if you're surrounded by negativity, it can actually promote negativity. So he was so good about making sure everyone was comfortable, bringing in pillows and making sure if you had a candle or if you wanted incense, that you were allowed to go into your area. I mean, I know with Adam, he had an incredible amount of lines in his monologue, and there were times that he just didn't want to stop. Even if he missed a word, he wanted to continue to keep going. And then he would have to back away from everyone, and he'd go in his own place, put on his earbuds, and listen to his angry music.
Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Actually, yeah, he was listening to that music to help him develop the character, yeah.
So, I mean, Mike was really good about making sure everyone was, in their right place. And it helped them with their role, too. He let Jamie get creative with, wearing a piece that I won't speak about, but during the film, that it really brings out that a lot of people, you need nerve to be able to wear something, big and bold, and she can pull it off easily.
Yeah.
So with Adam, he was an avatar for a younger version of yourself, and I was wondering, how much did he channel of you for the role?
Adam and I worked very close, very, very close together. We would get together. I didn't do a lot of what Stacy did, and neither did Adam. When it came to that, I was Sid on that set, and to the point where I think I might have scared some of the production crew a few times, including the director. After when I've got all this makeup on, I'm looking like something that came from hell. I walked up to him and scared him, but. We had that kind of levity going, but Adam and I, we would have to, we were alter egos of each other, and we got to understand the character to the point where it was scary at times. You know, we'd go out on my boat for 2 or 3 days, and just, and we would talk about getting into that deep, dark place, but we'd also talk about how to get out of it. I really didn't get out of it until maybe 6 months after I did this film, 3 to 6 months, because I really did embody the character, and so did Adam. And Adam, wonderful actor, his first real experience in a feature film, and he would do his part, and then he would have to go off, and he studies yoga. He's a yoga instructor, I believe, and he tapped into that ability in himself. And it's funny that we mention all this metaphysical stuff.
Yeah, we're all very intertwined somehow. We all have the same mind process, which it's so unique to find people who, if you were to name some type of gem or crystal, Larry could tell you the color, the size, where you can find it, where it originates from. And even anything off topic, we were all brought together and we were so similar. If you were to walk in the room, you would have thought we had been friends since we were young and growing up together, because we had just clicked so quickly and we could finish each other's sentences if we needed to. It was just an amazing experience, because most of the time people tend to go their own ways. Once you yell cut, you go take your break and do your thing. And we chose to stay together. We didn't leave. We didn't go sit in our car and make a phone call. We chose to sit and eat lunch and talk and continue to talk about the film and where we hoped it would be going. And it was one of those really unique experiences. It's like this group is a gem. It really is, because
very powerfully metaphysical. There was a metaphysical connection. Like, it's like the director had Mike had an amazing.
Like, he stood up on the earth and said, you, and you.
And it's funny you mention that, because there's a God complex through this whole film, and it's like that in many ways, yeah.
What was it like to record a film on a single stage? Normally you have a lot of sets.
I'll jump in on that if I could.
Yeah.
That was a practical application. Before I even typed one word for Blood Sugar Sid Ace, I won't go into too many details, but I was in a holding zone with another project. And the reason is, on my own fault on that project, I blew up the budget. I started bringing in different elements that, music choices and all this. And Larry, as we and I were friends, saw the torture I was going through as a writer, which came into Sid later on, right? So going through that process of this stalled project, I said, I need to write something that we can do now. We meaning Tim Labonte, my co-producer, and myself. So I need to do 2 actors, 1 location, let's shoot something. Then when I started typing this piece, I realized 2 actors was too limiting. It couldn't just be 2 male characters. It had to be some flair, some charisma, some female presence. So I started adding the 2 female characters. And then when I really applied myself into that World Series week, I said, 4 actors, 1 location, let's make a movie. Let's not waste time or energy spurring my wheels. I don't want to be the guy who's trying to make a movie for 10 years. I want to be a guy who's making a movie now.
Exactly.
Right. And so once we being Tim Labonte, my co-producer, and myself, we locked into this new project, Blood Sugar Sid Ace. We had the script. We decided that we would have our location, and Tim, to his credit, provided the location in beautiful downtown Olneyville, Rhode Island, in the middle of summer, June and July of 2011, where it was especially hot that summer, I think. And these guys, to their credit, really bared with undeniable oppressive heat.
You couldn't run the air conditioner because the air conditioning unit would be recorded. It was sound. So
The boom, I picked everything.
Wow.
oh,
Everything.
yeah, and oh my God, it was a nice studio, black box studio, but oh my God, whew, it got
I
hot.
think it added to our characters
Definitely
though,
got
because we
Sid
were trying to
riled
focus
a
on
few
anything
times.
except for the heat.
This heated intensity, maybe.
I think
It
so.
was it was crazy. I mean, we had to keep the door closed because obviously it picked everything up in the hallways as well. So you can imagine with a small area and a lot of bodies.
Yeah. I felt bad for the makeup artist who'd have to constantly reapply the makeup.
We had 4 makeup artists
Yes.
over the 7-day shoot.
Wow.
They were all wonderful.
They were.
Payal Patel, Bonnie Griffin, Stephanie Maiden-Carey, and Candice Lavery were our 4 makeup ladies who, shared duties, and they did do quite a bit of work. And Stacy and Larry and also Adam and Jamie Tennille as Blood were also very cooperative with the makeup. But it was a challenge, and
I should throw this out there for
Sure.
the makeup artists. All you makeup artists that Sid really scared, I apologize. It was just Sid. It wasn't me.
Larry says that because, like he said, he was in intense character mode, and going into this having 4 actors, as a tangent here, having 4 actors who are coming from different places. Adam and Larry, as Larry said, were working together on their own time, as friends and as almost a father-son relationship, to work on these characters on their own time. They had that intensity. Stacy putting in the time, balancing her very busy life, coming in from New Hampshire for the shoot, so unbelievable dedication. And she's coming in with the etherealness, with the metaphysical, the spiritual awakenings that we share. She's more advanced in the stones and the process of those than myself, but she really tapped into that. And Jamie, like we said, a light switch on and off. So everyone's coming at the characters and their presence and their approach to acting from a different way.
Mm-hmm.
One of my jobs is to allow that and to respect it and to conduct it. And the funny thing is, they did all the work, or the majority of the work. When we got onto the set, I had an easy time. My job was to buy the sandwiches and to let these guys do their thing. And Tim, my co-producer, he did a lot of work. To their credit, Billy Boom Mike, our boom mic operator, and John Orlando, our script supervisor, really lent a hand. But
Yeah.
for me, Roland, it was easy once we got on set.
That must be the easiest director job ever then.
It was an honor. I became a spectator, and that, I think, means for me that I picked the right people. And it's a very old film cliche and theater cliche. Casting is 90% of directing, 90%. And I really feel, in this case, 95% or 99%, because these guys nailed it, knocked it out of the park. And me and the makeup ladies and John, my script supervisor, would kind of be sitting on the sidelines enjoying a fine piece of art, and if the chronicle, we have all this stuff on tape, so if ever there's a demand someday for the volumes, the 7 days of taping, I would watch it. I don't know, I would enjoy it, that flashback of memory, but
It's unheard of to film so much in such a short period.
Yeah, 8 to 12-hour days, I think, is sometimes. It was mostly 10-hour days, but
We were each other's cheerleaders, really.
yes. We
If-
became, none of us knew each other prior to this, and we've all become very tight through this. I don't think 4 actors can go into those kind of deep emotions without having that kind of a bond. It's pretty amazing, and that's what made it real, too.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie's ability to get off book quickly, that amazes me. I'm still amazed to this day. You give her a couple of lines, she's off book in less than 5 minutes
Yeah.
on a whole page. I mean, she's amazing. Adam's ability to really get into chemistry and exchange that chemistry with us. Sugar's ability to actually take all of this negative power in the room, and her character was angelic. So she was the balance, she was the glue that kind of kept all of this evil from exploding. Was just amazing,
I think that we should actually look at a trailer of the film right now, so enjoy, audience.
This is my attempt at a low-budget, character-driven psychological drama. This is my story.
You don't have a story to tell.
This is the cross I bear. These are the things I do.
Of your lies. The lies God speaks through your mouth.
Judge me not.
If I were to die, could you exist?
The Creator is more than his creations.
I am this chosen one. I do the things you do. When they laugh at you, I kill them in my heart.
I lie to tell the truth because no one hears my screams!
There was a time when I thought no one else had thoughts.
Ideas, dreams.
I am not myself today. Today, I feel like someone else.
You. A waste of my potential. You. A waste of my blood.
I always wanted to be a writer.
Not a writer that wrote for himself.
I wanted to be a writer that wrote for money.
Big money. Hollywood type of money.
We cross out lines in the old rule book, create our own games, and laugh and die at our own jokes. I want to be free.
His was what it was not supposed to be.
Wow, that was a great trailer. It makes me want to see the film again.
Thanks, Roland. And Roland, I want to thank you individually for your support. Roland came out to a family and friends, very small family and friends showing, and you know, you've really been a great promoter of this film with To the Edge, and thank you so much, Roland.
Thank you, Roland.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we wrap up this episode? Anything?
Been a pleasure being here with you, having us come here. Been a pleasure seeing everybody again as well.
And thanks, Mike, for everything. He's on my speed dial, so anytime I have an issue, I call.
Yeah.
Movie or not, he's always there. And Larry's always
He's a
there
good
as well.
guy, yeah.
Thanks.
And we miss Adam and Jamie.
Adam's in
But
LA
they're here
right
with
now.
us in spirit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Tim as well. So.
Yeah.
And Tim.
And Billy Boom.
So hopefully we'll see you guys together again in another project in the future.
It's going to happen. I'm sure of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.